You are a professional, maybe you are 24, 25, and you have taken a job and you have been very, very successful in your student life. But my bet is you might be struggling in your new job. The reasons are many, and the critical reason is very, very simple. What helped you win in the student life? What helped you win in terms of getting your grades? What helped you win in terms of scoring those marks and made you very, very successful as a student in your school and college is not going to help you in your professional world. You need to have a very, very powerful shift in terms of mindset and behavior and very, very different sets of skills to win in the professional world. The professional world rewards very different set of skills, very different kinds of attitude, very different shift in terms of your mindset compared to what you had in your student life. That is why very successful students especially seem to struggle, at least initially, when they come into job. They're lost. I was lost in my job. I was a very, very successful student. But when I came to the professional world, I was completely lost because I was struggling to make that transition. I was struggling to make that mind shift. So I'm sharing a lot of my own experiences in a very crystallized form. So let's jump in. What makes a difference? What skills sets you really need? What kind of mindset shift you need? Let's go. Come to work life. Life suddenly shifts. There are no set tasks. You are given a role, but you are expected to perform a lot more. You are put in a team, suddenly team changes. Team restructuring happens. Work restructuring happens. You are given an unexpected feedback. You are given unexpected role. You are given unexpected work. You are given additional project. You are having already five projects. There is a sixth project which comes on top of all of that. And suddenly, your planned way of living goes for a toss. And here is a completely chaotic way of living. And that is the first thing which hits, especially organized students. And they don't know how to get organized to this new VUCA world of professional living. That is a mindset shift that you need to do. So, what do you need to do to get prepared for this? You need to reflect, and reflection is a great weapon. Reflection is a great tool. So, at the end of the day, I want you to spend 5 to 10 minutes looking at whenever this unexpected feedback came, whenever this team restructuring came, whenever there was additional project which was put on your table on top of five projects or six projects coming in. How and what was your reaction? How did you react? What was your reaction? What did you think? Oh shit, what is happening? Was that the reaction? Did you say it aloud? You might not even have said it aloud, but you felt like that. So write down what was your reaction to yourself. How did you react to that new thing which is happening, the change which is happening to you? And I'm talking about were you adaptable enough, were you resilient enough? And you need to become adaptable, you need to become resilient to accept that with a smile, accept that with happiness, saying that, yes, I'm going to master this. But what was your initial first reaction? Note it down and look at over a period of time. Can you change that initial reaction? Can you change the reaction from, oh shit, to, oh, yes, I can do this? Unless you make that shift for yourself, you are going to find it very, very difficult to master the VUCA professional world. The second area people struggle when they come into professional world is time management. As a student, school or college, life is actually pretty simple. You have these three activities which I have been talking about: attend classes, prepare for your studies, write exams. And even when you write exam, there are enough holidays in between. Exam number one is today, 1 day holiday to prepare for the next exam. Then the second exam comes in, 1 day holiday, and the next thing comes in. So a lot of time the colleges are very, very generous to students. They don't cram too many things into the whole timetable. Okay, you are given enough time to give the reports, you are given enough time to prepare for the exam, you are given enough time to prepare for the project, and so on. So very generously. Life in working life is not going to be like that. There are going to be so many projects coming together. There are going to be deadlines which are becoming sharper and more insane as time goes on. And there are multiple priorities all hitting you at the same time. There's a client calling you, there is your boss asking for the report, there is somebody else, the colleague whom you have promised to give something, and you have not even started preparing for that. All of that is going to hit you, and you are going to go crazy unless you manage your time very, very well. That is why I run a very, very specific, special time management advanced course. If you're interested, you can check out my course. But the simplest thing that you can do, start adopting, is what is called as Eisenhower matrix. Very, very simple tool. You look at your priorities in terms of are they urgent and how important they are. So I'm going to show visually that tool here. If you take a look at that, it tells you, are you living in an urgent and important quadrant where you are firefighting all the time? Or are you living in a quadrant where it is all important but not urgent so that you can leisurely do it at your own pace? So figure out what is very important, figure out what is urgent, and ensure that whatever you don't have to, you don't do it. And whatever you have to do are all things which are really, really important to you in your career. For that, you need to do two things. One, you need to know what is really important to you in your career, in your focus, in your tools, and you should be mastering all of that in a very, very fast manner. And also, you need to know what can become urgent if it is not attended to. Once you master these tools, you are on your way to master time management. That is going to be very, very important, which will propel your career. The third thing, which is different from a student life to a working life, is the way you learn. In student life, it is all very fixed kind of learning. You have the syllabus, you have the topics, it's all given, the subject is given. What is the expected answer is also given. So everything is in black and white in terms of what you need to master and how you need to master and how do you need to articulate that mastery so that you are seen as somebody who had mastered the subject. It is all pretty clear. It's all in black and white. The moment you cross the threshold of student life and coming to professional life, everything suddenly becomes gray. There is no demarcation in terms of, oh, this is what is called as mastery. No, no such thing. And therefore, so many different kinds of success is there in the professional life. In student life, you have to master the subject, write the exam very well to get the good grades. In professional life, there is no such demarcation. You can win in many ways. You can also fail in many ways. So, what you need to learn, which skills you need to upgrade yourself, becomes very, very blurry. That is where I've given a 13 different soft skills improvement course. If you're interested, you can check it out. I've given the link in the download section, in the description section. Take a look at it. I have also given the description of my top 6 advanced courses link in the description section. Take a look at it. All of these are going to be very, very important for you, very, very useful for you. But coming back to the topic, there is no demarcation in terms of how you can learn. So you can learn from anything. You can learn from YouTube like this. You can learn from TED Talks. You can learn from so many other avenues, books and courses and so on and so forth. You can learn from your colleagues. You can learn from the project that you have done, where you've done well, where you've not done well. You can reflect on it, note down what went well, what went wrong, and learn from all of these resources. And learning becomes very, very continuous when you are in the professional world. So what you need to do, that is where reflection again as a tool comes in. And in the 10 minutes that you reflect in terms of your reaction to accepting things, changes, and so on that we talked about in point number one, you also add what is it that you learned today? What is it that you learned from the project that you have done in this week? What is it that you have learned through the interaction with your colleagues in the office? Sit, reflect, look at what you have learned. Sit and reflect. What is it that you think you need to learn to go forward? What are the skills that you seem to be lacking? What are the skills which are important in your workplace, in your daily day to day life? What are the things that you seem to lack? And therefore, what is it that you need to urgently learn? What are the skills that your boss, what are the skills that your boss's boss are seemingly possessing, which you don't have right now, but you might need to have to move into your boss's position, to move into your boss's position 2 years from now, 3 years from now, if you want to go there, what are the things that you need to learn from today, which would make a difference to your life? Note down all that, reflect on all of that, and start learning as a very, very planned activity. Fourth area I want you to reflect on is the area of effective communication. In school and college, the communication is pretty simple. The professor is asking a question, you need to answer that. And it is all about how well you have studied the subject. It could be group activity. In the group activity, you are supposed to be participating, and the participation itself gets marks, and not so much as to how well you participated, which gets you marks. Participation itself gets you marks. If you are able to participate in the group activity, contribute towards that, you get good grades in college. But in work life, that is not enough. Participating is not enough. You are expected to participate in all group activities. You are expected to communicate, but how well you are able to communicate, how much clarity you have, how much presence you have, how well you know your audience, how well you know your subject, and on top of that, how well you are able to articulate so that you are able to convince and influence your team. All of this will make a huge difference. So the communication expectation in a college is very, very different from the communication expectation in a work environment. Suddenly changes, suddenly becomes very sharp, suddenly become very, very high expectation. And that is the gulf that you need to master and chase after. That is where I've given a course on advanced effective communication. Again, the link is available. You can check out the course. But what you need to do right now is to reflect on the meetings that you have been participating in. Did you even participate? That's the first question. How much did you contribute? What did you contribute? That's the second question. Third, in what way and manner can you improve those contributions? Did you speak well? Did you speak well with clarity? And did you follow it up with a mail which said that, okay, this is what we were speaking in the meeting, this is what we agreed upon, these are the open items, this is what we need to close, and can you, specifying the person, you agree to close this, can you come back on this? So the communication in the office is not just spoken communication, speaking and stopping there. No, it doesn't. It follows as to with a mail, it follows with written communication. Both go hand in hand, and everything towards getting a result, everything towards convincing people, everything towards influencing a group of influential people in the management. It could be top management, it could be your CEO, it could be your director, it could be your boss. Any of these people, you want to put forth your point of view, you want to put forth your articulation of whatever you have studied, your belief systems are, and say that this is how you think the process has to be, you think things have to be run, and you want to convince set of people who can take decisions, and you may be one of those people yourself, and so that the company can become better, the process can become better, and you get an edge over everybody else in that industry. So communication is going to be very, very important. Communication is going to be the effective communication is going to be the edge that you can have and should have in the working life compared to your student life. And there are very, very easy ways of improving it. So reflection is one of the most important methods of improving it. Reflect, note down, start learning. Next thing is all about networking and making friends. In college, the friendship is all about common interests. If you love football and somebody else loves football, you become friends. If you love cricket, somebody else loves cricket, you become friends. And if you want to do an activity, somebody else is good at that activity, you become friends. And the friend circle is basically about a common shared set of interests. But when it comes to working life, maybe may not be common set of interests, but there is a common set of goals to be achieved for the company. And hence, networking, making friends in the company world, in the professional world, is very, very different from making friends in the school or the college. People struggle when they come to professional life because they're still in that mode of finding common interests. You don't have even time to find common interests because people are running after that goal, running after what they need to do, running after activities, and so on and so forth. You don't have time to spend looking at what all the common interests are. But there are common goals, and that is what you need to actually chase. So what you need to do is to look at finding the mentor who would help you in the company. It need not be one mentor. It could be different sets of mentors who would help you in terms of, for example, very simple. Let's say you are using Excel in your day-to-day life, and there is somebody who's renowned in the company for Excel skills. Go sit with that person, make that person a mentor, request him for 10 minutes, 15 minutes a week, learn the tips and tricks of Excel. That's one example. It could be PowerPoint, it could be other skills, it could be Adobe, it could be Power BI. It could be any of the skills where somebody is very good at it and you can learn from them. And similarly, somebody is good at communication, somebody is good at email writing, somebody is good at this, somebody is good at that. You can learn from all of them. And similarly, you can also learn from people in terms of how the company works. What are the things that you should do and don't in the company? What are the unwritten policies, unwritten rules in the set of the company, in the setting of the company that you're working in? You need to learn all this, and you also need to learn how to do your job better. What would make you do your job better? And you need mentors, you need help friends, you need people who can guide you. You need to seek them out. They are not going to come to you just like that. And therefore, that is a very, very important task that you need to do. So sit, look at who is good in the company. You need to figure that out first. Who is good at what? who is going to be your mentor, who needs to be there in your network, whom you can talk to, whom you can tap into, and all of that you need to do one at a time. So you may have a goal of, okay, I want to make at least one mentor a week. I want to befriend at least two people every week, and methodically go after this as a goal that you take for yourself so that you expand your network in your office and expand the kind of help that you can get from these people. Next one is all about ownership and responsibility. Ownership and responsibility in the college are very, very different from ownership and responsibility in the working and professional life. In college, you are responsible for your grades. So you study. If you don't study and you fail, it's your responsibility. And you can always improve the next time around. You can always look at what is it that you missed studying. You can always improve on that. Life is all about you, how well you study, how well you articulate that in the written exam or the viva, and it's about that. So it's about how well you do. In working life suddenly translates and becomes much, much bigger in terms of how well your team does. Now, you as a person is still important, but what is more important is the team. It's like cricket. You may score a century, but if the team loses, then your century is useless. As simple as that. So you need to put your team in front, the company in front of you, and look at how to make the team succeed, how to make the company succeed. Because only when the team succeeds, only when the company is successful, you will be successful. And therefore, the reward systems and the way you think should be very different. Instead of thinking how well am I doing, that's important. But the more important question is how well am I doing to push the company forward? That is the right question to ask yourself. And towards that, are you taking responsibility? Are you learning from your mistakes? Are you learning from as a group, as a team? Are you learning from the projects where you have failed? Projects where you have missed deadlines, projects where you have missed revenue forecasts. So, how do you learn that? How do you sit as a team and learn from each other, learn from successful teams, learn from your failures? That is going to be the hallmark of how successful you can be in the company. So, what you can do? Again, reflection as a tool. Again, sitting with team as a tool. Again, seeking feedback from others as a tool. Sit, reflect what went wrong. Sit, reflect what went right. How did you pull it off as a team? Sit and reflect as a team in terms of what went right, what went wrong, and learn from that. Go seek feedback from others, other teams, other people who are watching you, who are helping you, who are part of the project in some manner or the other, so that all of that can come in and help you. The next one is self presentation and professionalism. In the college, you can pretty much wear all kinds of clothes, but in working life, you need to go with what the company policy is. If it's business casual, business casual. If it is completely business clothes, business clothes. If it is professional attire, professional attire. So you can't choose to be the casual person that you wear when you were in college. You need to transform yourself to the professional that is demanded in the company, demanded in the professional world. So that is a very important shift that you need to make. The way you look, the way you cut your hair, the way you present yourself, the way you polish your nails, the way you professionally attire yourself in terms of whichever meeting that you are part of is going to be very important because people are going to make an impression of you, think of you, form a point of view about you, basis the dress that you wear, basis the way you conduct yourself professionally, basis the way you come across as a person who wears a certain kind of clothes and certain kind of jewelry, certain kinds of handbag, certain kinds of things that you carry on you as a person. If you are not professionally attired, you are going to be seen as a non-professional person, and that label can be unfortunately very bad for you. So think about how well you are presenting yourself. Do what is called as an image audit. Am I presenting myself very well? Ask, seek feedback from other people in terms of your dress, in terms of your nails, in terms of your body smell. All of these are very, very important in the professional world. Seek feedback, understand how you come across for others, talk to your friends in the company, talk to people who are very, very close to you, understand from them in terms of, yes, what is it that you need to change, if at all you need to change, how it is going to impact the way you look and present yourself in the company. It's going to be important. Don't miss it out. The next thing is conflict resolution. In the college, if you don't like a person, And if you had a fight with a classmate, you may not talk to him ever after that. Okay, you may not work with him, you may not talk to him. It's perfectly okay in the college life to be not friends with somebody, to be not working with somebody, to be not even talking to somebody. People are not going to comment on that. And it's not going to affect your grades, it's not going to affect your marks. And perfectly fine, because that's going to not affect your performance at all. But in work life, it's not like that. You may not like a person, you may argue with a person, but finally you might have to sit down with a person and work with that person, the team. And teamwork is all there to in the professional world. You have to work in teams. You have to work with people, even if you don't like them. And that is the difference, a big shift, which forces people to rethink their philosophy, rethink their life values when they come into professional life. So, even if you don't like a person, even if you don't like the way the person speaks and acts in a meeting, what do you have to do? That is where conflict resolution as a skill comes in. That is where you need to think deeply as to why you don't like a person in case you don't like a person, why you don't want to work with him in case you don't want to work with him. Look at it, think about it, think deeply. Look at what is the conflict resolution that you need to do. What is it that you need to do to break the ice? What is it that you need to do to start working with this person in spite of you not liking this person? Some of these you need to think about, some of these you need to reflect upon, note down, and start acting so that this conflict resolution as a strategy helps you to start working with people, even if you don't like them, which is going to be very, very important in the professional world. The last thing that I want to talk about is how you approach decision making. Life as a student is simple. The decision is all about how to get better grades, how to crack that exam. But the moment you transition into professional life, life is all about how well you can take that risk, how to mitigate that risk and still take that risk so that with least amount of risk you can pull off that project. That is all there to professional life. Creative problem solving, because you need to take risks, you need to find different ways of solving the problem, you need to find different ways of getting that revenue stream going, you need to find different ways of crunching the time in which you deliver the project and without compromising the quality of the project. So it's all about creative decision making, it's all about becoming creative and not taking the kind of risk that might be seemingly there in the first place, how to mitigate the risk, being creative and solve problems all at the same time. There is all that to professional life, which is very, very different from the student life. And if you're not getting creative, if you're not able to solve problems, if you're not able to spot the problem which might happen in the future, you are going to be in for a root shock in the professional life. So what you need to do, you need to develop the axis of creative problem solving. You need to look at how you can solve this problem in 5 different ways, 10 different ways. What could be the problems? What could be the challenges? What could be the risk that you are actually taking? What are the assumptions built into doing in this manner versus this manner? What are the pros and cons of option A versus option B? What are the underlying assumptions when you take option B versus when you take option B? So you need to be critically evaluating all of this and you need to be creatively solving for those problems as you go along in your professional life, which is going to be the key differentiator between your student life success versus professional life success. Wishing you all the very best. Adapt all of this. I've given a complete set of all of these skills and even more that I talked about in terms of what you need to do, what exercises would help you, how you should approach all of this in the description down below. Please download it, go through it, adapt it. Wishing you all the very best to become the best version of yourself in the professional setting. See you in our next episode.